climate action, protecting Mother Earth and humanity. Enact an emergency Green New Deal to turn the tide on climate change, revive the economy and make wars for oil obsolete. Initiate a WWII-scale national mobilization to halt climate change, the greatest threat to humanity in our history. Create 20 million jobs by transitioning to 100% clean renewable energy by 2030, and investing in public transit, sustainable agriculture, conservation and restoration of critical infrastructure, including ecosystems. Implement a just transition that empowers those communities and workers most impacted by climate change and the transition to a green economy. Ensure that any worker displaced by the shift away from fossil fuels will receive full income and benefits as they transition to alternative work. Enact energy democracy based on public, community and worker ownership of our energy system. Treat energy as a human right. Redirect research funds from fossil fuels into renewable energy and conservation. Build a nationwide smart electricity grid that can pool and store power from a diversity of renewable sources, giving the nation clean, democratically controlled energy. End destructive energy extraction and associated infrastructure, fracking, tar sands, offshore drilling, oil trains, mountaintop removal, natural gas pipelines, and uranium mines. Halt any investment in fossil fuel infrastructure, including natural gas, and phase out all fossil fuel power plants. Phase out nuclear power and end nuclear subsidies. End all subsidies for fossil fuels and impose a greenhouse gas fee tax to charge polluters for the damage they have created. Protect our public lands, water supplies, biological diversity, parks, and pollinators. Ban neonicotinoids and other pesticides that threaten the survival of bees, butterflies, and other pollinators. Support a strong enforceable global climate treaty that limits global warming to no more than 1.5 degrees Celsius and provides just financial compensation to developing countries. Label GMOs, and put a moratorium on GMOs and pesticides until they are proven safe. Support organic and regenerative agriculture, permaculture, and sustainable forestry. Protect the rights of future generations. Adopt the precautionary principle. When an activity poses threats of harm to human health or the environment, in the absence of objective scientific consensus that it is safe, precautionary measures should be taken. The proponent of an activity, rather than the public, should bear the burden of proof. Invest in clean air, water, food and soil for everyone. Clean up America. Enact stronger environmental justice laws and measures to ensure that low-income and communities of color are not disproportionately impacted by harmful pollution and other negative environmental and health effects. Support conversion to sustainable, non-toxic materials and the use of closed-loop, zero-waste processes. Jobs as a right, and key support for labor. Create living wage jobs for every American who needs work, replacing unemployment offices with employment offices. Government would be the employer of last resort, and the unemployed would have an enforceable right to make government provide work. Create direct public employment, as the Works Progress Administration did, in public services and public works for those who can't find private employment. Advance workers' rights to form unions, achieve workplace democracy, and keep a fair share of the wealth they create. Enact the Green Deal full employment program to create 20 million green jobs in sustainable energy, mass transit, sustainable organic agriculture, clean manufacturing and improved infrastructure, as well as social work, teaching, healthcare, after-school and home care, drug rehabilitation and other service jobs. Provide grants and low-interest loans to green businesses and cooperatives, with an emphasis on small, locally based companies that keep the wealth created by local labor circulating in the community, rather than being drained off to enrich absentee investors. Replace NAFTA and other corporate free trade agreements that export American jobs, depress wages, and undermine the sovereign right of Americans and citizens of other countries to control their own economy and political choices. Enact fair trade laws that benefits local workers and communities. Repeal the Taft-Hartley Act, which banned secondary boycotts and permitted state right-to-work laws. Enact a federal just cause law to prohibit firing without just cause, and outlaw scabbing on striking workers. End poverty, guarantee economic human rights, including access to food, water, housing, and utilities, with effective anti-poverty programs to ensure every American a life of dignity. Establish